I never intended to spoil my mother's birthday celebration, but her betrayals cut deeper than mere festivities. The evening started with forced grins and sparkling wine. The house buzzed with her crowd, people who tossed compliments like coins and judged with silent stares. I lingered by the cake, silent, watching her bask in the spotlight she craved. When she raised her glass and declared, "I'm proud of all my children except one," the laughter that erupted stung sharper than any blow. My siblings joined in, their chuckles slicing through the air. Even my father let out a soft laugh. It felt scripted almost. I smiled, not out of amusement, but because the moment I'd waited for had come. I slipped my hand into my pocket, pulled out a small white envelope, and dropped it into her champagne flute. Her face creased in confusion. The room's laughter faded. The envelope dissolved into the golden fizz, and when she glimpsed its contents, she gasped. There was a time I thought my mother's love for me was unique, not less, just distinct. I was the quiet one, the watcher, the one who mended her messes. When she crumbled, I was there to lift her. When she needed funds, I provided them. When she spun lies, I shielded her. But love, I discovered, is a transaction, and mine was always worthless to her. It began with small thefts. My inheritance, borrowed for a time, my career milestone claimed as her triumph at family gatherings. The true betrayal, though, arrived in cold, legal documents, not warm words. When my father suffered his stroke, the hospital reached out to me first. She showed up hours later, poised and polished, clutching the altered will she'd pressured him to sign. My name had vanished from it, my portion of the house, the savings, even his old pocket watch erased. She'd rewritten herself into my place. That day I stopped being her child. I didn't lash out. Anger is messy, wasteful. Instead, I grew methodical. I started collecting evidence. Every transfer, every signature, every hushed word from the lawyer she'd paid off. I visited my father daily, even when words failed him, and I documented it all, his eyes, his frail gestures, his scribbled notes before she reached him. I tracked the funds she'd funneled into hidden accounts overseas. I hired someone discreet to unearth emails, contracts, and those accidental transfers from my father's business to her personal accounts. 2 years of silence. 2 years of enduring her mockery at family meals. 2 years of crafting a moment that would sear into her memory forever. When she announced her birthday gala, I knew the stage was perfect. The guest list was ideal. Every relative, every friend, even the complicit lawyer. I arrived early, gift in hand, courteous as always. She embraced me, murmuring, "Don't make a scene tonight," with her practiced, diplomatic smile. I kissed her cheek. Wouldn't think of it. Dinner dragged, each toast a polished lie. I could hear her rehearsed pride. How David gifted her a car. How Sarah boosted her business. How Michael called daily. Then me, her tone dripped with subtle poison. And then there's Ryan, my quiet one. She raised her glass. "I'm proud of all my children except one." The room roared with laughter. I let it linger for a moment. Then I drew the envelope from my coat and let it fall into her glass. She gasped as the paper soaked through. Her hands shook as she pulled it out. The guests stared. My siblings went still. I stepped forward, voice calm. "Those are the certified bank records," I said, "and the recording of you pressuring Dad to alter his will." She blinked, stunned. "What are you doing?" I turned to the lawyer by the cake. "You might want to clarify since you assisted with the signatures." Murmurs spread, sharp and quick, like sparks catching. I pressed on, unflinching. "There's also the medical report showing you delayed the ambulance that night. Dad might have lived longer, but you waited to ensure his hand was steady enough to sign." She dropped the papers, her face drained of color. "Ryan, please," I cut her off. "You toasted to humiliate me in front of everyone. I'm just returning the gesture." The silence that followed was thicker than any cry. The consequences came swiftly. The lawyer quit the next morning. My siblings demanded explanations. Investigators arrived within days. The accounts she'd siphoned were frozen. She tried calling me once. I let it ring unanswered. 2 weeks later, she left town quietly, like a shadow no one cared to recall. I visited my father's grave that Sunday. The air was crisp, the sky clear. I placed a single empty envelope on his headstone. "Justice, Dad," I whispered, "not vengeance. Justice." As I walked away, I realized her voice, once a constant echo in my mind, had vanished. Silence. The kind that feels hard-won. And for the first time, I felt like her son again, not because she shaped me, but because I'd finally laid to rest the version of me she'd created.